morning. Thank you all for joining us. And today I have here Melly Moore, who is a passionate advocate for neurodivergent people, including those with ADHD. Melly has a podcast called The ADHD Melly Show that focuses on neurodiversity and mental health. She streams every Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. And Melly is one of those people who's not afraid to be herself on LinkedIn. She's just very open about what she's feeling that day. And no, there's not enough of us who are doing that on LinkedIn. I mean, everybody should do what they're comfortable with on LinkedIn, but Melly's not afraid to really show the dark and the light side of life. So, she's not afraid to be vulnerable on LinkedIn, right, Melly?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn for almost 2 years now, and it's been quite of a journey. And yeah, I just enjoy just sharing my thoughts and how I feel, etc., etc., and just being myself because LinkedIn is all about that as well. It's not to make yourself a cartoon of yourself and pretending everything's doing fine when it's not. And that's why I decided to share a little bit more about myself and creating my podcast and an event too that is coming. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love that though, because like I said, we just don't see enough of that. Me, myself included, I don't talk too much about my personal life or anything because it involves other people. And they don't like to be talked about on social media. So I just realized that, okay. Okay, so I have some questions for you, Melly. Are you ready for
Sure.
them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what compelled you to start your podcast in May of 2021? Did
I
something
decided
happen?
Yeah, I decided to start in my podcast because I was like unemployed. I had nothing else to do. Because if you don't know, maybe you know because you know me, right? But in 2020 and 2021, I lost like 80% of my clientele. Most of them just stopped business because of the pandemic. And I was like, okay, what I'm doing right now, I was full of debt. I couldn't pay my rent. And still today, it's still hard, but no, it has art. I pray that it never comes like that because sometimes I felt like I would be homeless and not able to pay my bills. So I decided to create my podcast because I wanted to help other people that were neurodivergent to succeed in life and not necessarily suffer as much as I did growing up. My 20s was the hardest decade of my life, and I hope my 30s not as horrible because it was not that fun. Okay, there was a little bit pleasant moment, but I will say 80% of my 20s, I would do it again if I could, because yeah. So that's why I decided to create the ADHD Melly show. I decided to invite a new guest every Friday because for me it's very important to share others' story as well, not only mine, because others have interesting backgrounds and sometimes they succeed better than I do. And sometimes it's important to see that part of neurodiversity as well, and not only all the bad things that happens in our life because of it. There's positive in neurodiversity. I don't want to share only negative. It will suck, right?
No, well, it's important to be honest.
Mhm.
No, life isn't all unicorns and rainbows, and
Yeah.
I think it depends on your level of comfort. But you're obviously comfortable sharing that because
Yeah, yeah.
you want to show people the tough parts about losing work, living with an ADHD, which I'll ask you about soon. There's different things that go on in our lives that can make it difficult to live our daily life, you know.
Mhm.
So it's important to see both aspects, I think, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So 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 Mary, you have ADHD. When were you diagnosed and how does it affect your daily life?
I was diagnosed as a child, but I don't feel that I started to understand what it meant when I was in my 30s, because when I was a kid in the 90s, there was like they only wanted to you to take pills, and there was not alternative therapy. It didn't really exist. And when you see somebody, a therapist, they were like super judgy, and they were like, you will need to take that all your life, you're not going to heal, you're going to be a failure. They didn't say it like that, but they use word that you understand that what they mean. And I didn't feel really. I tried to get out of the odds, like I'm the only one, except of my mom, that graduate high school. My sister and my brother didn't, and they are neurotypical. So for me, it was a goal to succeed high school because everybody told me that I was not able to do it. But after that, it was like always down, up a little bit, down, further, further down, because I feel unsupported when I was an adult. I was not extremely supported as a kid, but I mean, as an adult, there were no support at all. It was like, you take care of yourself, and I had to move young because I was in a toxic environment. And staying there was making me more miserable than other things, so I needed to leave, but it was not an easy way to just to be there. So yeah, I started to make more research when I was in my 30s and understanding why I was always failing all the time, and that just sucked. If somebody would told me earlier in my 20s, I think my life would have been way easier.
Yeah. You only saw one therapist. When was that, when you were a child or when you were older that you saw the therapist?
I only had therapists when I was a kid, and when I was adult, I just didn't want to talk about any of that because I had bad
Yeah.
experience as a child. Yeah, one of the therapists calls child support for nothing. My parent never beat me up. They were not very the best with my ADHD. I was always punished,
Wow.
but I mean, there was kids that needed that more than anyone else. If I wanted to be honest about that in my relationship with my parents, they will call social services right away, child support services, and they were like, okay, I'm going to take them out of their family. Of course, it didn't happen because they saw that nothing was wrong there, and etc. Yeah, my childhood was not easy because I was punished all the time, and I was grounded severely, but nothing to put me in danger like I'm gonna die. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like you had a really difficult time.
Yeah.
How has your relationship with your parents changed now that you have
um
a bit of more understanding of ADHD now?
My mom, my mom is my mom. She's not the problem. It was mostly my stepdad. I'm not going to go too far from that because they didn't understand my condition. So sometimes when you are yourself abused, you abuse others because you don't know better. So that's why I'm not like mad about him or etc. etc. because I know that his own story is not like it's not very funny neither. So I it was more my punishment was more like you skip food for dinner because you did something, or you needed to stay in your room all weekend because you did something that I don't remember what I did. And when you have the ADHD, sometimes you do things by impulsivity and you're like regret it in the second, but you still get punished for a long time after it.
Yeah, sounds like it was difficult, really hard. And
Yeah.
now that there's more education and knowledge about different neuro, I don't know why I'm having a hard time.
Diversity. You going neurodiversity.
Neurodiversity and what it means. And you mentioned having a job before COVID. You were working in a grocery store, a market or something, and
No, I'm a website
um,
designer, and I thought I would COVID, everybody will come see me because they were in need. But the problem is I was working with small businesses that all closed because sometimes then there were restaurants or little stores and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
there were not there were some e-commerce, but they were still it was still difficult time because those people didn't really know how to deal to sell online at the first place, and it was quite difficult, and clients were not as much there because they were lack of money, and I decided to work in a grocery store at a minimum wage, and it was the worst idea ever because of that I need to go back taking course at the university because I failed because they made me work too much and they didn't really understand that I needed to study, etc., etc. So it was like the worst thing ever. I should never go work there, to be honest. But yeah, it was something that I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you talked about it a little bit back then when it
Mhm.
was happening. Um, what do you think, from your experience working in this market for a brief period, what do you think would help employers when they're hiring neurodivergent people? What are the main things that employers should know?
They should know that you cannot necessarily work 8 hours straight and rush hours and stress. Grocery store is the worst job for neurodivergent. I'm just telling you because you can make
Yes,
mistake
I was just
also
thinking
at the
that.
cash. I was not really doing mistake because it was quite easy. What you see on the cash is mostly what it is. All is it's easier, but I mean it drained me a lot because talking to people all day while you're neurodivergent, sometimes you just feel drained, and that's totally normal, and yeah. So I will suggest if to have accommodation for neurodivergent to just work like half shift, maybe things like that. That I'm talking more about a job that's mostly with public. I hate it. I just don't like it because it's give me anxiety. I'm creating an event, and that's the worst part of it is I need to talk to people, but at the same time it's for a good cause, and it's only for a day. It's not I will be able to do it because I mean I'm not going to have to do this 5 days a week forever.
Yeah, I get that. Um, so what specific, like take somebody with ADHD who wants to work with a corporation, for a corporation, a big company. What specific accommodation should
But
that employer provide somebody with ADHD?
okay, but
Like a couple of specific accommodations.
yeah, I will admit that working from home is like a lifesaver. It's like super easy. You don't need to
Oh
talk to
no.
anyone. And you just work at your own rhythm. You just need to have the job done. You don't have somebody on your back telling you what to do and watching that you do the work. That's just so anxiety for me, and that's the worst ever. And I was always fired of kind of job because I couldn't stand it at the same time. And also when they start a new job, take like a week or two to integration. I mean, not don't like present everybody the same day. It's not going to work. It's very overwhelming. I'm not going to remember any name or any face. It's just like a shadow of time passed, and I just don't remember. It's like super blurry after that. And it's the same thing for learning things and learning the stuff that you need to do. Take more time to teach the person that's neurodiverse because most of the time they have difficulty in learning as well because of the overwhelm and also how the brain is working. And also the other thing is not to put the employee in a crowded place. Put it aside so that person can work silently and in peace. That's what I will suggest, to be honest.
I think that would apply to many people. I mean, you can't really learn and orient yourself when you have so much activity going on around you.
Hmm.
Um, you mentioned your event. Can you
Yeah.
tell us more about your neurodiversity event that's happening on September 12th? And I'm going to put the link in the, if I can just find it. Can you go ahead and
Sure,
put
sure. I'm
that?
so excited to talk about that because this is my big thing that I ever did, and supporting me and this is just incredible because all the money that I make from this event also help me just succeed and do more and do my podcast, create more, and being able to just show my work, show myself a little bit more to the public. I wish I could do this in the US and other country. Maybe you can invite me in UK. Why not? I'm just kidding. But for this event, it's in Montreal. But wait, don't leave. It's in Montreal because we're filming a live stream and there's going to be a public so people can buy ticket to come in Montreal as well. But it's going to be live stream and in a replay. So that means that if you cannot be there because the time is not according to the schedule, you can still listening and enjoy it with everybody else. So yeah, that's what it is. And we're going to talk a lot about there's going to be somebody that is going to talk about what do you ask me? Neurodiversity in the workplace. Somebody's going to talk at the side of the employer. So how to include people that are neurodivergent. And there's going to be somebody else that is going to talk about accommodation and how you can be included in the workplace while having ADHD. There's going to be somebody else that is going to talk about how to be diagnosed as an adult. So she's going to give you tips and solutions to help you deal with that news because it can be a little bit, some people feel like a failure to be ADHD and learning late. Or it's like a grieving process. You just don't want to believe that you're neurodivergent because you always thought you weren't. But at the same time, you feel like there's something wrong about you anyway. So you're just like, you don't know. So she's going to talk about that. Somebody else is going to talk about anxiety while having being neurodivergent because the problem is anxiety is all over the place because you're used that people tell you that you're nothing, that you're worthless, that you're not going to be able to do anything with your lives. So that's causing a lot of anxiety, and when I'm anxious, I'm talking a little bit too much and too fast. Voila. So that's mostly about it, and you can go to neurodiversityevent.com, and I really hope that you can come. Please just come. And if you cannot be there just the date, you can watch it anytime you want. So please come.
Okay, okay. I put the link in the comments for the event. So I'm hoping, how much are the tickets? 15
Yeah,
to
they are
$20?
$15. It's for the live stream and replay. You will have caption in English on the replay and in French if you speak French and prefer French. Maybe not here. Maybe that's not good for you guys, but I mean, you know what I mean. So I'm going to do this for the replay. There's going to be automatic English subtitle. Normally, I hope it's gonna work for the live stream. You're going to be able to chat with other people if you have questions. It's going to be interactive. You're going to be there with us even if you're not there. So it's $15 for in person live stream, and it's $30 Juana for the in person. Not 20, but that's okay. So
Oh,
yeah.
good. Oh, sorry.
It's
I know
no
why.
problem. So yeah, so every time you buy a ticket, you really help me and support my event and support me in general, being able to create more things for neurodivergent. But because, like I said, my ultimate dream is to travel and do other events everywhere in the world. So yeah, so I really hope you can come, and Juana's going to be there, by the way.
Well, I will be there with Melly, so I'm hoping other people will join in and have a great lineup of guests for that day. So that's fabulous. I love it. And I wanted
Thanks
to
so
ask,
much.
can you, now going back to ADHD, can you
Sure.
tell us more how, oh no, what's going on? Oh, some another.
Take your time. It's no
Well,
problem. Here, I'm going to entertain people by dancing.
I don't know why. Anyway, can you tell us a bit about how ADHD,
Yes.
how we can learn more about ADHD on our own
Oh, yeah. You can go on my website
and
if you
other
want.
people
Sorry, you you
way can
you you cut. So you froze. So I thought you stopped talking and you didn't. I'm sorry. Can you do this again? I'm so sorry. I don't know. You just froze.
That's okay. Oh, okay. So, can you tell us a little bit more about how, because there's different neurodiversities. So,
Mm-hmm.
how how can we neurotypical people be more sensitive to people, neurodivergent people?
You should simply
Like,
educate
like from
yourself.
your experience.
Yeah, you should educate yourself. You should watch my podcast. It will help you a little bit more figure it out. Because I have people that are autistic. I have people
Mhm.
with cerebral palsy that came in my show. I have people that are neurotypical but work with ADHD people. I have some people with disabilities as well. Yes, it's the ADHD Melly show, but I talk about those differences as well because it's very important to include people in all dimension of neurodivergent, because some people say that anxiety is a neurodiversity. I'm just telling you like that maybe you are neurodivergent and you don't even know. And yeah, so you can check it like that. You can go to association like ADDA that you can go, and you will be able to know a little bit more in those associations as well. And just type what is ADHD on Google will help you a lot as well, because it depends. Because there are people that are hyperactive like me, like I'm jumping everywhere and I'm moving. That's hyperactivity. And some people that have their hyperactivity in their mind, and some people don't have hyperactivity but they have attention issues. And for me it's like I'm combined, so I have in my mind, in my body, I have most it's everywhere, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned anxiety is a part of neurodiversity.
Some studies
Anxiety.
says that yes, and some say most
Oh,
studies says that yes. Now the new studies that is part of neurodiversity, yeah,
okay.
because it's just, because some anxiety or brain function that are not working properly, because there's anxiety that is normal, like you're anxious because you have a concert, you're in front of people and stuff like that. That's normal anxiety. But there's anxiety that you're scared about everything in the world, and sometimes people cannot get out of bed and stuff like that. They are irrational anxiety. It really depends of what your anxiety is. It chronic anxiety, you are neurodiverse, yeah.
Yes, but that kind of makes sense now that you explain it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, Melly, you've had your podcast for over a year now, and I'm wondering what is your top goal for your podcast?
My
What
top goal will be to have
the
more
ultimate
reviews on it.
just run
Yeah,
with more reviews? That's
yeah.
it?
Yeah, more views, having more guesses, being able to do meet and greet,
Yes.
having some more people on my membership as well. I wish that people go on my buy me a coffee and buy more coffee and buy more subscription. That would be just awesome, to be honest. I would love that. But yeah, I hope to make a living with that and stop being anxious about money, because I have money with my podcast. I know this is utopic and not everybody can make money by being on social media, and I 100% understand that. And
Right,
that's
right.
why I want to include event as well, to just make more living. Yeah, but also educate people, because it's passion. When you have passion, money always come, people say. So I have the passion, so I hope the money will come. But at the same time, that it's useful to help other people as well, because I want to help people. I don't want other kids to feel like me and feel like their parent don't understand them. And they really don't understand them. It's not like a teenage drama. My mom don't understand me. It's really don't understand because they never been there. So yeah.
Right, right. It's like we have to learn how to walk in other people's shoes,
Exactly.
learn about many other experiences, not like our own,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So I just want to acknowledge some people that showed up to join us this morning. Andrew, good morning, Andrew. Thank you for coming.
Thank
And
you.
Nancy, who had to bow out early to go to work, 5 minutes. That was a while ago. And who? Andrew, Kathy Miller.
Hello.
Bravery. Dan. Dan. Hi, Dan. Yeah, when she was listening to the story about growing up and
Yeah,
about
but
issues.
more
Yeah.
people know about it, more it's not going to happen to others. So that's okay. I will survive. I will survive. I'm kidding.
Ah, yeah, that's great. I love that. And then, happy. Okay, what else would you like to share with us, Melly? 'Cause I wanted to point out that you do have a sponsor for your podcast, right?
Oh yeah, I do have a lot of
How did, and
sponsors.
how did
And
you and how did you get sponsored? Because a lot of people who have podcasts want sponsorship. That's like one of the main goals, but it shouldn't be a main goal. The main goal should be spreading the message and
Mhm.
sharing the message. So tell us how you got the sponsor and who they are.
Zero DB. I'm going to talk about the two primary sponsor on my show, but I have the sponsor for the event as well. I'm going to, if you hear me click, it's because I'm going to go on my website because I don't want to miss anyone. And with my ADHD, that may happen. So I'm going to go on my website with that. So Zero DB is a beverage that helps not necessarily focus, but calm your mind with it's with a herb and essence, etc. It's all natural. It doesn't. You cannot exchange your medication with that, but it's going to help you just calm down a little bit. It's like a good tea to calm down. And they came to me. They're from Toronto, and they decided to come to me because they were interested in what I was doing, and they sent me a couple of products, and I was quite glad about that, to be honest. And yeah, and also Restream, I contact them to sponsor me because I had my event and I told them that I had 280 people, not 90 people now, 290 people that have brought a ticket online. So I was quite excited about that. So I wanted them to know about it, and they decided to sponsor me for at least January. So I'm going to have a couple of months of free Restream. So I'm pretty happy about that. If you want a promo code to use it, just tell me. I'm going to be happy to tell you about that. I have promo code for 0DB as well, and they do ship now in the US if I'm not mistaken. So also there's Blue Sky Learning. She work with consulting, coaching, and consulting, and she's there for personal and professional growth. She's not necessarily neurodivergent, but she worked with them as well. And yeah, you can see all those sponsors on my website, by the way, neurodiversityevent.com. There's a brewery that's coming, Chandelier. They offer beer for the event. So that's all for the event, by the way. There's going to be Valérie Poisson. She's there to sing opera in the event. I know it's crazy, right? So yeah, she's going to be there. I'm going to be a little bit faster. I'm sorry. ADDA, like I said, the Association Deficit Disorder Association. So they helped me find some people to come. They just shared my story and linked on their 10,000 people newsletter. So I'm pretty happy about that. There's also Lucy Marois that does conference formation and coaching. So she does that with neurodivergent. Then there is Candia that she's doing also conferences, but she also offers help to people that are searching for a job and employment for neurodivergent people. So she's neurodivergent, by the way. I also have, like I said, Happy Space is here too. She's a coach as well, and she helps neurodivergent people and being happy and stuff like that. So she's very interesting. I'm very glad that she's a sponsor. There's also Traveling Sidechick. She helped with inner growth as well. So those are my sponsors for the show, and I'm very grateful that they are here. I'm searching for more sponsor, like I said. I know it's Monday, but like I said, it's going to be in replay and in live streams, so your logo is going to be seen everywhere for a couple of months. So it's a great investment if you want to help me grow. So yeah.
Yeah. I just James asked you a question. Have you explored avenues opposed to I'm assuming he's talking to you, but he calls you Holly.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Um,
okay. It's autocorrect. People call me Ollie because of that.
yeah,
So no, because English is my second language. My first language is French, and my English is not good. So for being able to do that kind of text, and even in French, I'm not real. I'm better with novel and articles and stuff like that, and writing stories mostly than poetry, to be honest. And yeah, thank you for asking.
Krista, hi. Thank you for dropping by. I'm glad to see you here.
Thank you for being here.
So, Melly, can you tell
Hmm.
us about a couple of guests that will be at the event next week?
Yes,
And
absolutely. It's
can you
going to
talk about
be,
a couple of them?
yeah, I'm going to do this. There are 6 people that are going to speak, included me, of course. I'm going to talk about build a better confidence on social media because, I'm confident enough to talk about my story and I want to teach people how I do it. It's not perfect, but I'm quite proud of myself. So yeah. There's going to be Pierre Bissonnette that is going to talk about how to include neurodivergent employee in the workplace because yeah, if you want employ neurodivergent people to be employed, we need to have people that are inclusive, and that's really a problem right now. It's very hard, or they fire you because you're not able to do the work the first day. That happened to me so often, to be fired after a week, and I'm just like, why have you not taken a little bit more time with me? It's an investment to hire, and just fire me because I cannot learn in a week. And yeah, it's too soon and not enough included. There's Ayla Roy that's going to be there talking about adult diagnosis, understand ourselves better, because like I said, a lot of people get diagnosed with ADHD when they are adult, and it's a grieving process. Like I said, they're like, no, I'm not ADHD, it cannot be me, I'm normal. I succeed all my life, because a lot of people with ADHD also succeed. It's not always like me that had a rough time. Some people have type of ADHD that are more interior. It's not like hyperactive like me, very moody, etc. And there's going to be Julie Ostbo that's going to talk about how to get iron and get accommodation you need, because you need to be talking too if you want to have accommodation, because if you don't tell that you have ADHD and you don't tell that you need accommodation to succeed, you won't have it, and you may be on the fired section, and that's not what you need. You need to be open about your condition and be okay with it. And there's going to be Sherry J that is going to talk about how to deal with anxiety while being neurodivergent. Because, like I said, anxiety is a comorbidity for ADHD, because we're always taught that we're not able to do anything with our lives. So we are always anxious to do something wrong. Or you do something wrong and everybody tells you that you do something wrong all the time, because you have ADHD is not as perfect as they want, and they criticize you all the time. So anxiety always come like that on yourself. So yeah. And our last guest is Melissa St. Louis. She's going to talk about tearing down stereotype, the first step toward neurodiversity. So we're going to go out of the stereotype. The stereotype is that ADHD person cannot do the work. ADHD person is poor. ADHD person is needing too much accommodation to work, or they're not capable, they're lazy, etc., etc. Because I was told a lot of time that I was lazy while I was not. I'm very hard working. I work 7 days in a week simply because I want this event to be very perfect. And anxiety sometimes kicks because I'm like, I hope it's going to be perfect. I hope it's going to be perfect. So that's why I chose those topics in this first edition, because I wanted to be talking about the topics that was the most important for me. This is the most important for me, and next time is going to be something else. And yeah, I really hope that you're going to enjoy being there this Monday.
I really enjoy it. For me, I
Thank
really
you.
enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope people who will sign up to go to the event. I want to say, Krista says you were fired. No way. Do you want to talk a bit about that, or were you talking generally about being fired?
But most of the time I get fired in the first month, because one of the problem when you're neurodivergent, they don't explain you all the time exactly what you need to do. They want you to figure out what needs to be done. And sometimes when you're neurodivergent, you have difficulty to find your priority. That's a problem with ADHD. Or having deadline. If you don't give me deadline, you're never going to see your project again. I'm just telling you like that. I'm going to put it back, and put it back, because I don't have a deadline. And deadline, when you have ADHD, they save us because we feel empowered by them. We want to succeed. We want to get them. And there's a little bit of rush of dopamine that tells you, let's go, we need to do the project, it's going to be fun. Because the problem with ADHD, the dopamine is lacking in our brain. That's why it's ADHD. That's the problem. That's the what's happening in our brain if we go a little bit more scientifically. So the ADHD is a problem with dopamine. We cannot make dopamine enough, and that makes us difficulty to do a simple thing that sucks, like doing dishes, laundry, things that you don't want to do because you don't feel empowered by them. That's why sometimes we are over focused on some things. That's why with ADHD you need to find a job that's going to keep you motivated, because you have so much project at the same time, etc. So that's why it's so important to have a goal in our life to succeed. Yeah, and that's deadlines. No deadline, you're never going to see your project again. So that's a little bit the problem. It's not because you cannot do the work, it's because they don't explain you enough what their expectation. If you with ADHD person, you need to know exactly what's going to happen, exactly what you need to do. And if that does not happen, you're just not able to do the work properly. If this are meat, you're going to be able to do the work as somebody else. It's just people are just not good to explain, and they just expect us to know everything and being good and everything.
I understand that. I guess for many people who are considered different and
Mm-hmm.
are working in the workplace with other people in an office,
Mm-hmm.
like for me, I'm deaf.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been the only deaf person at work in the workplace. So I found it difficult to tell my employer what I really needed because I thought, well, they're probably going to get rid of me or they can give me a hard time or they're not going to do it. And I would often, because we would have meetings, I would request a sign language interpreter And
Mhm.
they did it one time, and that was it. And we had meetings every month, and you tell them, and then you tell them, and then eventually you just get tired of asking for what you need. So obviously, for me and you, working from home works perfectly for us.
Mhm.
And I prefer it too for that reason. You don't have to struggle every day going into work and then not getting what you need, not
Mhm.
getting the help that you need. And the coworkers were fine. It's the management is the
Mhm.
problem. So,
True.
but now with all the talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and disabilities, neurodiversity, I'm hoping that employers, companies will start waking up to what we really need and start offering accommodations without having to constantly be told,
Mhm.
ask.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I'm more cynical about it because just
Mhm.
because I've been through so much of it. Um, I think
True.
change will happen, not quickly, but it'll happen at their own pace. No. I wanted to point out what James Patton says. She check out the channel on YouTube. Special books by special kids. I follow that channel, James, and I really love it. People different. She talks to children, adults, young adults with different disabilities, physical, mental disabilities, neurodiversity. Um, yeah, are you familiar with this, Melly?
Yeah, I didn't know about it. I watched some episode. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really good channel. It's very inspiring. Stacy, hi Stacy. Someone think letting me figure it out is empowering. Right. Do you want to respond to that, Melly?
Yeah, it's true, but at the same time, we need to know all the important instruction first, and after that, if they want to leave us work alone, we're better at that actually. But we need the important information, like I said. We need to know what's the deadline because it's not going to work. We need what is the most important. We don't want to know details that's not really worth it to know. We're capable to figure that out, but if they don't tell us that the work needs to be done each Friday at 1 o'clock, I give you an example. It's not going to work if they don't tell us that, or they tell us at the last minute and we are so stressed out that we get too much anxiety to do anything. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, we have another comment here. So, inability to accept inability within the That's an interesting way of looking at it. They're disabled in ways that they don't understand people different from them. Yeah, that's I think
Mhm.
sometimes they just have a block in their head, like they can't comprehend
True.
the differences that other people can have from them. It's like and it's important to have for any position that you have, whether you're manager, CEO, or even a private business owner, is to have empathy for people. And I think that's really important. That's something that's talked about a lot more now because it's really important. Because
Hmm.
with more visibility of neurodiversity and physical disabilities, disabilities in general, physical,
Hmm.
mental, um, we're going to have to start working with people different from us.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of us out there. So might as well hop on it and start getting used to us. Right, Melly?
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your support, Krista. Krista's a wonderful woman, and you should
Thank
get to
you.
know her, Melly. And Krista should get to know you, Melly. So Hope you both connect.
I will after the show. I'm going to check her out.
Yeah, go check her out. She's really helpful. The boss needs the work done. The should be accommodating. Manager only roles to provide for employees. Because it's two different roles there, a boss, between the boss and the manager. Manager only roles to provide for employees. That's interesting.
True.
Yeah, I had managers who were micromanagers. I had a terrible micromanager in my last full-time job. He would just come to my desk every hour, say if I wasn't there, she would ask my coworkers where I was.
Oh my god.
How on earth can you function like that? I said. And I
It's
would just,
impossible.
I would, yeah, that's impossible. Every hour. Are you done with this project? Are you done with this project? Like every hour or maybe every half hour. I'll say, when I'm done, I would let them know and I would bring it to you when I'm done. Okay. Like I would get visibly angry with her and I became very unpopular with management.
I feel it because they suck sometimes. Like I said, I had one boss that was always checking me on my back, and I hate it so badly. And that makes me stop working. It did the contrary effect. That's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But they didn't really fire people. I mean, because a lot of people would meet quota for the day and they never fired anybody for that because it was really difficult to find people to fill those jobs. Because filling a position takes a long time. So they didn't really fire anybody. But it was a very unhealthy workplace. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate unhealthy workplace. It's the
Yeah.
worst ever.
Yeah. So, Melly, we are coming up to 50 minutes now. Is there anything you would like to share with us? Any last thoughts you would like to share with us?
Sure, I want to say thank you to everybody that came today and maybe subscribed to my event. Who knows? I want to say thank you in advance if you go check it out, and thank you for hearing my story because it's really important for me to share it. And thanks to you, Juana, to just invite me in your second episode. How do you feel? I want to ask that to you. How do you feel making a podcast?
Oh, it's just I just see it as a live stream, not a podcast, because it's not on Apple or Google or Spotify or anything. But I
Great
guess I could
job.
turn it into one. I guess you can turn it into one, but that's not really my goal to have a podcast because it's a lot of work, as you know, Melly. Um, I'm really glad you were able to join us today, and that I hope the people here have a little bit more understanding of what living with ADHD is like. And neurodiversity is very different. There's different neurodiversity, so it's worth doing some research on your own to find out learn about those different neurodiversities. So I just want to let everybody know that next week I will not be having my live show for personal medical reasons. Not me, myself, but someone in my family is having a medical procedure next Tuesday. So I will not be having my show. I'll be out all morning, but I'll check in every now and then. So I just wanted to let you know. But the week after that, I will have a guest unknown at this moment. So everyone, thank you for joining us this morning, and I hope you all have a great day. And thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.